based on two sources of data material. 1. Martin Lindstrom's book Biology. 2. Two selected articles from the academic world of neuroscience. 3.1 Biology. On the front cover of Biology, Lindstrom promises to reveal how everything we believe about what we buy is wrong. If one man is able to lay bare the whole foundation of why we buy, then taking a closer look seems in place. The book gained a tremendous amount of high-profile media coverage through numerous mentions and articles on the internet and on TV shows such as 60 Minutes and NBC's Today Show. The massive exposure of Lindstrom even led to Time magazine ranking him as number 88 of the influential 100 honoree of 2009, Anderson 2009. Analyzing the entire biology book would be too comprehensive for this thesis and produce too superficial an analysis, failing to ensure a proper level of academic depth. Thus, we have chosen to focus on two main parts of Lindstrom's bestseller, which are the two chapters mentioned below. These chapters were purposefully selected based on several aspects, but predominantly because they clearly demonstrate Lindstrom's notion of neuromarketing. Furthermore, these chapters are selected due to their correlation with two op-ed pieces published in New York Times, which entailed a heavy amount of reactions from both consumers and the academic field of neuroscience, Lindstrom 2011 c. Lindstrom 2008a. Thus, showing that the topics of these chapters are of importance to both of these groups. These two chapters are also used to market the biology book on Lindstrom's website, each represented with a short trailer movie, respectively, smoking and religious branding, Lindstrom 2011b, which might suggest that Lindstrom also finds these chapters particularly interesting. The chapters chosen for analysis are: Chapter 1, A Rush of Blood to the Head, the largest neuromarketing study ever conducted, Lindstrom 2008b, pages 736-30. Chapter 6, I Say a Little Prayer, Faith, Religion and Brands, op.cit. Pages 107-127. Henceforth, Chapter 1 will be referred to as B1 and Chapter 6 as B6. B1 includes several basic considerations, explanations and notions on the use of neuromarketing from Lindstrom's point of view, which makes it an excellent point of departure in our attempt of understanding his notion of neuromarketing. Furthermore, this chapter focuses on a study concerning the effect of warning labels on cigarette packages, a study which also constituted the foundation of an op-ed article in the New York Times, Inhaling Fear, also written by Lindstrom 2008a. The main focus of B6 is the resemblance and parallelism Lindstrom claims exist between how religious people react when focusing on their religion and the way consumers react to strong brands. One of the brands mentioned repeatedly is Apple, which Lindstrom believes has faithful followers in the same way as religions do, Lindstrom 2008b, pages 117-121. Lindstrom refers to himself as a global branding expert, op.cit. p. 16, and lists famous global corporations such as McDonald's, Walt Disney and Procter & Gamble among his customers, Lindstrom 2011a. Lindstrom is originally educated from DBR Reklamskolen, School of Advertising, in Denmark, and the bibliography of Biology provides the sources on which Lindstrom bases his knowledge concerning neuroimaging and neuroscience, Lindstrom 2008b, pages 241-245, several of these being very colorful and easily read and do not offer many scientific details. Lindstrom even states in an interview that he is not an expert on the brain, Sullivan 2009, p. 10. When a layman promised to uncover the brain's deepest secrets, Lindstrom 2008b, p. 22, the outcome and approach become interesting. On October 1, 2011, Lindstrom wrote an op-ed piece for New York Times entitled, You Love Your iPhone. Literally, Lindstrom 2011c, explaining how consumers' relationships with their iPhones are similar to personal relationships with people we 31 love, and how babies as young as 12 months intuitively know how to use an iPhone. This op-ed entailed heavy reactions, especially from the neuroscientific community, leading to no less than 46 PhDs and professors 3 writing and signing an official complaint to New York Times, expressing their disbelief on how New York Times could publish an op-ed so scientifically flawed. Poldrag, et.al. 2011. Thus, considering the fact that no less than 46 PhDs and professors found Lindstrom's work to be scientifically flawed, it is vital to couple his notion of the practice with that of neuroscientific academia and hereby gain the most nuanced picture of the practice. Therefore, in order to critically evaluate the nature of neuromarketing and the pitfalls and benefits associated with the practice, an extensive amount of scientific articles from various well-established and respected medical journals were investigated, leading to the selection of 2 specific articles. The articles were selected selected based on their ability to critically review, comment, and reflect upon the practice of neuromarketing, and furthermore on their ability to explain the anatomic and neurologic processes linked to the practice. 3.22 Scientific articles. Through the use of purposive sampling, we selected 2 scientific articles for analysis. We will now clarify the criteria our purposive sampling is based on. The 2 articles have first and foremost been selected based on their neuroscientific background and academic backbone, as this was the most important characteristic in relation to a comparison with Lindstrom. Both articles are peer-reviewed and published in relevant periodicals, hereby vouching for their academic reliability and trustworthiness. An important factor when selecting the articles was an interdisciplinary background, meaning that the articles were written by academics from different, complementary fields. The scholars of the articles thus represent academics within marketing, psychology, neuroscience, and economy. This seemingly widespread representation of 3C Appendix 1032 academics greatly complements the purpose of this thesis, to shed light on the different attitudes or the uses of neuroscience in marketing. As neuromarketing covers a wide field of research, it has not been possible to include all research areas of the field in this thesis. Thus, we have chosen to include and place emphasis on critical reviews of the current and future possibilities within neuromarketing and the treating of aspects of neuromarketing and neuroscience related to the topics of B1 and B6. 3.2.1 Neuromarketing. The hope and hype of neuroimaging in business. In this article, the scholars shed light onto the popularity of neuromarketing and what they believe to be the 2 main reasons for the practice increasing popularity: a hope of saving money and time compared to other marketing methods, and to gain information which is not possible through conventional methods. Furthermore, the article provides an overview of selected traditional marketing research approaches. It presents advantages and disadvantages of the most popular neuromarketing technologies currently used, and it furthermore sheds light on the ethics of neuromarketing. The article addresses problems in relation to marketers' use of reverse inference and the amount of media coverage these marketers gain. The authors of this article are Gregory S. Burns, Professor of Economics and Neuroeconomics at Emory University 2013. David R. Eli, Professor of Psychology and Behavioral Economics at Duke University 2012. The article was published in Nature Reviews Neuroscience, which is a journal covering modern neuroscience, Nature Reviews 2013. Henceforth, this article will be referred to as A1. 3.2.2 Branding the Brain. A critical review and outlook. This article identifies critical issues of past research within the application of neuroscience to marketing, specifically to the consumer psychology of brands. In 33 discusses how to address these issues in future research, and furthermore, the article refers to several well-known studies and presents an overview of the main results from these. Plassman et al. 2012, pages 18-23. The authors of this article are Hilke Plassman, Assistant Professor of Marketing at INSEAD 2014. Bullitt, Thomas Zoe, Combining Diaresis. G.A. Ramsoy, Senior Researcher and Head of the Decision Neuroscience Research Group at CBS and DRCMR 2014. Milica Milosevic Mormon, Senior Research Associate at the University of Miami 2012, UTS 2012. The article was published in Journal of Consumer Psychology in 2012. This journal aspires to publish the highest quality scholarship relevant to consumption. Journal of Consumer Research 2013. Henceforth, this article will be referred to as A2. In relation to the selection of empirical data, it is of crucial importance to notice that the data is not chosen as representatives for all neuroscientists and marketers. Many other points of views are represented and recognized within both fields. Our research approach is qualitative, emphasizing interpretation and understanding of the chosen empirical data, in which we have the opportunity to compare the scientific notion of neuromarketing with one of the most prominent marketers' notion of neuromarketing. As mentioned earlier, cf. Section 1.2, due to the limited scope of this thesis, the individual analyses of the respective chapters of biology and the scientific articles can be viewed in Appendices 4, 6, 9, and 11. The collective analyses are treated within the thesis, as they are what yield similarities and differences, and thus what provide a standard of comparison between the 2 fields of neuromarketing. 34.4 The field of neuromarketing. This chapter reviews the cornerstones of neuromarketing in order to lay the foundation for this thesis' subsequent analysis and discussion of the practice. It also serves as a frame of reference in order to establish a mutual point of departure, and sets out with the objective of providing the reader with an overview of the main components of neuromarketing. Thus, the below chapter will constitute the balance of the equation neurology plus marketing equals neuromarketing. 4.1 The marketing of neuromarketing products are made in the factory, but brands are created in the mind. Walter Landon, Marty, Combining Acute Accent, NES 2012, p. 115. Put simply and broadly, marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating and satisfying customer requirements profitably. Cornelis 2008, p. 260. The practice traditionally revolves around three major disciplines: product management, customer management, and brand management. Kotler et al. 2010, p. 25. Throughout the history of marketing, the practice has adapted and evolved in pace with changing environments, technology, and different eras of human life. The marketing landscape has undergone significant developments, and much has changed since Neil Borden coined the renowned marketing mix in the 1950s and Jerome McCarthy introduced the 4Ps in the 1960s. IBID. However, despite the fact that the notions of the marketing mix dates back to the 1950s, it is still one of the most dominant ideas in modern marketing, and the classic concepts of the 4Ps, price, product, promotion, and place, are still parameters which companies must manage on an everyday basis and pay significant attention to. Kotler et al. 2005, p. 33. An effective marketing program is thus thought to be one that combines the elements of the marketing mix in a coordinated program designed to achieve the company's 35 marketing objectives, hereby making the marketing mix a company's tactical toolkit for establishing strong positioning in their target markets. op.cit. p. 34. Hence, even though the landscape of marketing may have changed significantly since the 1950s, the core concepts remain, to a greater or lesser degree, the same. Generally speaking, marketing works in two ways. It may trigger an instantaneous reaction and or alter a consumer's mindset such that behavior may be affected later on. Thus, marketing first affects brand equity and then, if successful, brand equity later affects behavior. Plasman et al. 2007, p. 151. However, as the average consumer in the Western world is often exposed to no less than 10,000 brand-related messages every day, the challenge lies not only in affecting behavior, but also in simply cutting through the immense volume of available data. More in 2011, p. 135. Several market and consumer research methods are available in this relation, aiming at finding that particular message or product, which will cut through the enormous volume of marketing messages and ensure a strong positioning in the mind of the consumer. Up until today, most explanations regarding market and consumer behavior have been based on data stemming from traditional market research tools such as interviews, focus groups, demographic data, and surveys, from which consumer thoughts, feelings, and behavior then are inferred. Marty, Combining Acute Accent, NES 2012, p. 5. Qualitative research techniques thus play an imperative part in gaining insight into consumers' motivations, perceptions, and decision-making. Fugate 2007, pages 385-386. Marketers have for decades sought to comprehend what consumers think and feel simply by asking them. Nevertheless, when it comes to predicting subsequent consumer behavior in the marketplace, the results of these studies have often been disappointing. McDowell, Dick 2013, p. 26. One of the explanations for these shortcomings has been the notion of subconsciously rooted emotional drivers that have a significant influence on consumers' decision-making and which traditional research methods rarely are able to detect. IBID. Classic economic theory holds the premise that people are rational human beings, who first of all follow their own interest and base their decisions on rational thinking, accurately assessing available options. Kammerer, Fair 2006, p. 47. However, more recent research point to the fact that most of the time decisions are highly irrational and bear a strong emotional load. Pop, Irga 2012, p. 634. The role of emotions in consumer decision-making have 36 by some been labeled as the intuitive consumer model, which often is juxtaposed with the rational consumer model, hereby emphasizing the contrast of the two and stressing the importance of emotions in consumer research. Jenko et al. 2013, p. 21. The rational consumer model views the consumer as persuadable by rational arguments and as consciously aware of what drives a purchase decision, whereas the intuitive consumer model argues that preferences rarely are the product of careful logical analysis but rather that habit, experience, and emotional cues provide shortcuts for preferences and decision-making. op.cit. Pages 35-36. In 1995, Professor Damasio introduced a new paradigm about how emotions should be viewed as a fundamental component of rationality by bringing the notion of emotions versus rationality in decision-making into light with his book Descartes' Error, Duplessis 2011, p.15. Descartes famously stated, "I think, therefore I am." This is frequently translated to, "I am rational, therefore I am," to which Damasio argued that we are rational because we are emotional, Damasio 2006, pages 249-252. Hereby,